Happy Friday! Welcome to Ask a Reporter.
Welcome, welcome.
With Ruby today.
And quite a nice foliage-filled
Yes,
room.
all real, of course.
Mm-hmm. We grew them all
as you can
ourselves.
tell, yeah. This one's got a little out off the edge, but...
Yep, this little one in the foreground. It's really,
yeah.
Yeah.
Just beautiful, flourishing. We're very good at growing plants here, aren't we? And who's
One of our
this
many
guy?
talents. This is Henry.
Henry. That's right, Henry. I always
Yes.
want to call him Harry. I don't know why, every time.
Yeah, no, his name is Henry.
You're trying to rename your rhino, I'm sorry.
You may recognise him from such stories as this week's Big Extinction story. You may also recognise him from the one we did quite a long time ago was also about extinction.
You're special, Ruby.
It was about all the animals. It was about, it was about extinction. We did another one back
Yeah.
in, I think the end of last year. But Henry's been with me the whole way and he's not yet extinct, so.
He's doing well. Fingers crossed. Keep up the good work, Henry. But yes, that is what we're talking about today. It is a bit of a serious topic, but Ruby's got lots of answers to your many, many questions.
Yeah.
And we have limited time, so let's jump into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to start right at the beginning with Holly
Hi,
from
Holly.
Oatley West
Oatley West.
Primary School.
Love it. Love Oatley.
Holly from Oatley would like to know, when was the first extinction?
Great question. And this is something that was touched on in our in a story this week. You may remember that there have been 6, as far as scientists can tell, 6 mass extinctions. And the first one, let's pull up a little timeline so I can show you kind of how long ago it was. It was about 440 million years ago, and it was called the Ordovician-Silurian extinction. And this is the second largest extinction that scientists know about. And what happened here to cause the extinction was the Earth basically cooled. So you might know that at the moment we have global warming, but this was a global cooling. And 60 to 70% of all of the species on the planet Earth were wiped out. And the animals that were around back then were kind of, see this little fish here, fishy looking thing. They didn't look a lot like the animals that are around these days. There was a lot of marine life. The oceans were much higher up, and like most of the life on Earth was in the ocean. And we're talking about things like mollusks and corals, a lot of that kind of stuff. And what caused this, what caused the global cooling was all about what was happening to the sea levels, and the volcanoes that were pumping gas up into the atmosphere. They were creating darkness. They were sucking oxygen out of the air. And all these things combined created the first mass extinction that we know of.
Well done, and great pronunciation there as well.
Well, thank you. I practiced.
Oh, crazy. All right, so let's go to Dane from Carlingford Public School. Dane would
Dane.
like to know
Yep.
what percentage of animals are going extinct? Do you know?
Yeah, it's a good question. And this is one of the things that the new report from the United Nations has been talking about. And it's quite a shocking thing. It's not so surprising. We've known for a long time that the rate of extinction here on planet Earth has been ramping up a lot, especially over the last 50 years. But what this report, the headline that came out of this report, is that we now have 1 million species on planet Earth that are being threatened with extinction. And we could be losing like up to 50 to 60% of the species that we have now, we won't have by 2050, which is pretty serious. It's kind of impossible to know exactly because it's estimated that about 85% of the species on planet Earth are undiscovered. People don't know what they are. And so there are heaps of different, types of frogs and fish and things at the bottom of the ocean we've never seen, insects. So it's impossible to know the exact rates of extinction, but we do know that they're going, shoo.
Unhappy news. Well, let's go back a little bit again. Quite a long way, in fact. We've got Jack from Gawler East Primary who would like to know,
Hey, Jack.
when approximately did the T-Rex die?
The Tyrannosaurus Rex. Oh, yes.
The old Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I did a little bit of research about this question. So the dinosaurs, as we know them, the animals that were around about 60 to 70 million years ago, Oh yes, you can see here on the timeline again.
Oh yes, love the timeline.
So this was an extinction called the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction. It was about 66 million or 65 million years ago we've got there. You can see it was the last big extinction, and that was the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. And the T-Rex, obviously, was one of the most famous dinosaurs. And this extinction wiped out 75% of all life on Earth at the time, and that included basically all of the big animals. So I don't know if you guys know what a tetrapod is. Tetrapod is a word for like an animal with 4 legs, basically. So it includes things like frogs, reptiles, dinosaurs, mammals. And there was scientists reckon that no single tetrapod that weighed more than 25 kilograms survived this extinction. So all of the big animals were gone. And interestingly, what caused this extinction was a bit different to what caused a lot of the others. This one was thought to have been a big asteroid. And I think we've got some questions.
We do.
About that.
I was going to say we do have questions about that. So I don't know if this is a tough one for you, Ruby, but Akila from Campbelltown was wondering about the asteroids and how they actually formed. And I've also got Montana asking as well about the asteroids. Why didn't the dinosaurs run away from the asteroids? And where did the asteroids come from? Oh, they'd be tough to run away from.
Yeah, good luck outrunning an asteroid.
Yeah, but I like your thinking. Outside the box.
Yeah, look, if you were really fast and you could get off Earth really quickly, I suppose.
Or very small, apparently. You also might get away.
Hide under a rock. You'll be fine. So in terms of how asteroids form, little outside this area of discussion. That's more of like a spacey question. But asteroids are basically just big pieces of space rock. So they're rocks that hurl around space. We have a lot of them that whiz by the Earth every so often. We have a lot of people keeping an eye out for ones that are coming close, and so we will hopefully know if there's one that starts heading for planet Earth, and we'll have a bit of a heads up. But yes, this one zoomed into the Earth and wiped out all the dinosaurs. There's really nothing they could have done about it, unfortunately.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy to think about, and also like just crazy to think about how old Earth is and how all of these animals have lived. It's fascinating.
It makes you very, I think the word is existential. It makes you think about your place in the universe and how really, when you think about it, humans haven't been around very long at all. Compared to the age of the Earth and then compared to the age of the universe. And, things come into being and go extinct, and some are remembered, some are forgotten, and it's just amazing to think
and some are natural processes, some are because of unnatural things.
And all of this has all happened for all of time and will continue to happen well after we are dead and gone.
So, speaking of extinct animals, Joel from Homeschool. Hey,
hi, Joel.
Homeschool. We love you guys too.
Yep.
What is the most recent extinct animal?
Oh, this is a good question. And the answer is quite sad. The most recent one I can't tell you because it's happening probably right as we are talking. The extinction is a natural process, right? So we can expect species to go extinct. 10, I think it's 10 to 12 a year is kind of the natural if things were just left to their own devices. But because of us humans coming in and messing with things, that rate of extinction is thought to be about 10,000 to 100,000 times higher than it would be otherwise, which means that we have about, the guess is, again, we don't know all the species that are out there and exactly what's happening to them, but the estimates say we're losing about 12 species a day. And so that's sad. So you hear sometimes about the big ones that we know about, the big mammals. We know that, the northern white rhino, there's only one left, I think. And we hear about those big ones. Yeah,
there he is.
Henry.
No.
But there are heaps of others that are all coming. There are more species developing as well, but there are many more going extinct. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Let me go back up to the top here. All right, so Sylvie.
I like your name, Sylvie.
Love it, Sylvie. Australian Christian College in Moreton would like to know, first of all, what animals do you like the most? Maybe we'll answer that second. is pollution one of the main problems that is affecting animals? Maybe we'll answer that one first.
Yep. Great question. And the answer is totally. Especially when we're considering what this report was talking about, which was how humans are contributing to extinction rates. One of the big things that humans do that's bad for animals is pollute natural environments. And pollution, it comes in a few different forms. There's stuff that you guys would definitely know a lot about, like plastic pollution. We've done heaps of stories about the ways that plastic pollution is hurting our animals, going into the oceans and killing animals. But there's also other things we do, like clearing natural habitat, which I guess in a way, it pollutes that habitat, obviously, if you're destroying it, but also we will go into natural habitats and change them in ways usually like with industry or buildings, and that can often lead to pollution of the water, of soil, of the air. We are pumping carbon dioxide into our atmosphere, and all of these things pollute natural environments and kill animals. So yeah, pollution, big problem.
Big problem, but a happier question.
Favorite animal?
Favorite animal?
Yeah,
yes, for a happy question.
So I love all animals. I think they are great. My favourite animals tend to be, apart from rhinos, sea creatures, just because they're really different, and I just find it so incredible that animals can survive in the ocean and breathe in the ocean. I think I love really alien looking strange animals like seahorses and octopuses.
I was going to say, do you like leafy sea dragons? I'm a big fan of leafy sea dragons. They're just so amazing to watch.
They're so
cool. If you haven't seen them, have a little Google. They're very cool.
Yeah, and it's so strange to think that they
can live underwater.
Yeah, and then we have so much in common with them in some ways, but they're so different to us.
It's very strange.
What are they thinking?
It's very strange, isn't it? I know, I love it. I'm the same. I love leafy sea dragons, and sea animals are very cool. Very, very cool. Especially, like you said, the ones at the bottom of the ocean that are, have formed their own light and things, like the one with the light. Some of you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I love those
teeth
ones.
And the light thingy. Yeah, that they lure other animals in.
From Finding Nemo.
Yeah, exactly. Very cool. Very cool.
I also just love seals. They're so cute.
Seals are very cute. We all know I really like cats. I have a bit of a cat obsession, obviously. And bats. I still find bats weirdly fascinating.
Yeah, bats are really cool. I like how they have that kind of evil vibe.
Yeah, and just that they're flying mammals is so strange.
Yeah.
I just love it.
I also love farm animals. They're the boring ones, I guess, but I love cows and lambs.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. All right, so let's go for Arabella from Al Hikmah College.
Hi, Arabella.
You have sent us heaps of questions today, and we love it, so thank you very much. So this one is addressed very beautifully. Dear Ruby, how are you?
I'm quite well, thank you very much. Thanks for asking.
Very polite, Arabella. Just want to say that do electric products hurt the environment? Electric products. Electric things.
Good question. And the answer is not as simple as the question, but the answer is yes. Electricity is... You often hear electricity talked about as a potentially more green way of operating things that we use. So the typical one is electric cars. We've done some stuff on electric cars.
About that actually underneath.
There you go. Well, electric cars are... people talk about them as a green alternative to petrol cars, and that's because when they're operating, they don't pump any bad gases into the atmosphere. They don't contribute to global warming in that way. But to produce electricity, you do need to, depending how you're producing electricity, there's different ways to generate it. So you would have heard of renewables, things like wind energy, solar energy. They're kind of the greener ways to produce electricity because they don't, put toxic substances into the atmosphere. But 85% of the electricity that we use here in Australia comes from coal. And mining coal and burning coal to produce electricity puts a lot of CO2 into the air. So, it's while electric things are often more environmentally friendly than the alternatives, they're still not fantastic. You still need to be careful about how much electricity you use. Things like turning off lights when you're not in a room, unplugging things when you're not using them, limiting your electricity use is always a good thing to do.
Exactly. And it's not the easiest thing, as you would have heard in many a BTN story, for the world to sort of change from coal to renewables. It's something that people are working on. It's something a lot of people are pushing for. But yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do.
And your whole world is functioning one way. You know, there's people...
And has been for like a very long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, we have our whole industries built around this, people's jobs and...
a lot of money for the economy.
A lot of money for our economy. Australia is a big coal producer. And it's a big money maker for us. So it is hard to transition out of into new things, but it is happening. Around the world, we have more and more people using renewable energy to generate electricity. I think we're going to see more and more electric cars on the roads.
Yes, let me ask that. So this you've pretty much answered, but I just wanted to also call out Amy from Al Hikma College as well. If we start using, in brackets, cool electric cars, not the uncool ones, we don't want to know about those. No. Will we be helping the animals live longer? Does petroleum harm animals and the environment? So
yeah. So similar question. Yeah. So yes, it does. Cool electric cars are very cool. That is I think that's one of the reasons why we don't have more people driving them, because a lot of them aren't cool yet. Like, they're kind of like, it's kind of like mum cars or whatever, and people want like cool cars that are big and loud and go fast or can pull a boat and things, and there are some, there's not that many options available, especially here in Australia, because we're so far away from the rest of the world where all of this stuff is happening. But I think eventually we'll have very cool, I have a hot pink car myself, and I one day would like a hot pink electric car, so...
Hopefully soon. Yeah, I haven't seen one of those yet. Soon enough, surely.
One day I'll rock
just
up in
for
one.
You, yeah. Now, I don't think this is your real name, but if it is, then prove me wrong. That's fine. Marshmallow?
Marshmallow. Wait, the Marshmallow?
The Marshmallow?
The DJ?
My goodness.
Hey.
Marshmallow would like to know, do you think there will be animals in the future? And I'm going to do the emoji that you have here. Do you recognise that one?
Yeah, I know the exact one.
Yeah, I love that one. I use it all the time.
Yep.
There are 3 of them after this question, so really thoughtful.
Yeah, really wondering about that one, Marshmallow. Look, I think there will. Extinction is a bit of a sad fact of life. If you ever live, that means that one day you will die and everything will become extinct, that your whole species will become extinct. And that's been true of everything that's ever lived and everything that will live in the future. But the thing about Earth, and what makes Earth so cool and allows us to live here, is that our planet is part of a place in the universe called the Goldilocks zone. And what that means is that our atmosphere, the pressure in our atmosphere means that our planet can sustain water. And if you can have water on a planet, it means that theoretically you can have life on a planet. And that's how everything that's ever lived on Earth has been able to live, because of the existence of water here. So...
And the temperature, right? Not too hot, not too cold.
Yeah, that's right. We're in
like the Goldilocks thingy.
Yeah, in the region of... Yeah, that's right, the porridge.
Rhyme. Story.
Fairy tale?
Story. Fairy tale. That's the word.
It does rhyme
I got there. Thank you.
Yes, so because of that, it means that, even if all of the life on Earth right now went extinct, if a meteor hit and wiped out all life on Earth right now, it would probably appear again in some form or other, maybe some crazy weird form that we would have barely recognised, but yeah, like life will go on, I think, here, for the foreseeable and unforeseeable future.
That is the theory, exactly. And so we haven't actually, I don't think, really touched on this. Angus from Roland Plains Upper Public School.
Hi, Angus.
Always sending us lots of questions, you guys too. Will it affect humankind, mass extinction, I suppose? And I just wanted to say this because, we're talking about animals, and I guess we sometimes forget we're animals too.
Yeah, it's a good point. And because we are animals, we are sort of at the mercy of nature as well, as much as we sort of have created our own artificial way of living to a large extent. We're still animals that need water and oxygen and things like that to survive. We rely so heavily on nature. We are part of the mass extinction that's happening right now, called the Holocene extinction. We are smack bang in the middle of this extinction. It's the first one that humans have been around for, and we are also speeding it up a lot since we've been here. But yeah, we're animals. We're going to be affected by this extinction. It's sort of impossible to say exactly when and how things will happen to us, but there are things that we can do, which we touched on in our story this week, to slow down the rate of extinction, and things we can do to look after ourselves. But yeah, like, this affects us as well. This is not just about saving all the animals that we love. It's about saving our own bacon too.
True. Very, very true. So maybe, I'm sure there are some questions here about this, but let's maybe go into some of the things that we can do, or that are being done to, you know, stop this from being so bad. Something slightly more positive.
Yeah, there are lots of people all around the world who are doing all kinds of things to come up with solutions for how to slow down this mass extinction that we're living through, and how to make life better for the animals on our planet. And there are heaps of things, like one of things that are being produced instead of plastic, so that we can use in the same way that we would use plastic, but, you know, things that maybe are biodegradable. We're also just doing things like bans on single-use plastics in a lot of places. And so, you know, making people pay for plastic bags when they go to the supermarket, you know, just means that there's less plastic in circulation. There are things like renewable energy.
Yes, I was going to say that we talked about before.
Yep, the wind and solar, finding alternatives to fossil fuels. And
probably not being as I think wasteful generally, right, is a big thing.
Totally.
So maybe not just constantly, you know, buying things that you might not need, which we are all guilty of.
Yep, and there is a whole zero waste movement. Yeah,
food, you know, people think, not overindulging and buying things and wasting food and wasting stuff.
Yeah, people are thinking differently about I think about how much stuff they need, what about their diets, where their food is coming from, where their clothes are coming from. You know, fast fashion, people trying to crack down on that. You know, there are big environmental movements happening. There are also, I think, in terms of preserving the nature that we do have, things like trying to get things heritage listed, or more national parks, more land set aside for nature. It's one of the big things that came out of this UN report that said we need more land set aside to just be natural land.
That's cool.
We've had so much of the world's rainforests and things like that just wiped off the planet. You know, often to make way for agricultural land or for buildings, and, you know, we're saying that we just need to slow that down and let things like wetlands, rainforests, natural ecosystems just to exist, and just to exist and sustain life and biodiversity, and for us not to intrude into those places. Just let it happen.
Let's go for a couple of quick ones, but I just saw this and I think that's really great. Alan from Thomas Mitchell. Alan would like to know, has there ever been a human extinction? Isn't that a cool question?
Oh, yeah.
And yes, I mean, technically, there are types of humans that scientists, you know, knew that were sort of like our cousins, I guess, that obviously no longer exist because we are the only human species existing right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
It's a cool one to look into more.
It is. It's really interesting because, we didn't just pop out of nowhere. We also evolved from, I guess you would call them animals back, and then, you know, at some point something in our genes meant that we could be classified as humans. But, you know, we have been changing and evolving, and there have been different branches and sub-branches of humans that have existed and then been wiped out.
So you know that we're Homo sapiens, so, you know, there were other kinds.
Yep. And there are still traces of them. You know, the cavemen. There are lots of people walking around the world today that have caveman genes in them. You know,
so crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot. We went to war, and a lot of us were wiped out because we went to war with each other, the different species. But also we did breed with each other as well, and so we have bits of all different types of humans in us.
Very fascinating.
So interesting.
Stuff. Now, because we're running low on time, let's speed through a few. I just wanted to go, oh man, I lost it now. Here we go. Okay, this is a weirdly fun question. because it's sad at the same time. But anyway, this is you'll
extinction
enjoy
party do
it.
you wanna
You'll
have?
enjoy it. Okay, so Sayana, just going for it there. Hopefully that was somewhat close to your name.
Sayana?
TMPS, all caps. What's your favourite extinct animal? See what I mean? It's fun, but it's like sad. I'm going to jump in while you think for a second because I've had time because I saw this before. I definitely love dinosaurs, but I also think the dodo is a really weird creature, and I think very famous, just very famous as an extinct animal. And I don't really know why. Was it just that it was really, like everybody knows the dodo?
That saying, like, dead as a dodo.
Yeah, it's just a very famous one, and I saw the fossil of one in, I think it was in New York at the Natural History Museum. So cool! It was so cool to see it, and it's just this weird thing. So I think that's a pretty cool one.
It's really sad. It is really sad as
It is
well.
sad,
Because you're like,
yeah.
oh, I love this. I would have loved to see the real version of it.
Yes. Like you've got like the Tasmanian tiger. That's our very famous Australian one. People still claim they spot those every once in a while.
Yeah, the conspiracy theories.
Always funny. Yeah, what do you think? Oh, I've got another one.
Yeah.
Just sorry, just like reeling them off.
No, go.
But, one more. You know the big wombats.
I was about to say megafauna.
Yes, megafauna.
Yeah, I think that there are so many. And the birds. Like, there were these birds around. Forgive me, I cannot remember. I don't know the names of them off the top of my head. But they were kind of like emus, but with thicker necks.
Oh,
and they were like so tall, like 3-4 meters tall, I think. Like, and they just would wander around. They were herbivores. I think they existed in Australia before humans came to Australia. So we're talking like, I don't know, 100,000, up to 100,000 years ago. And they were actually wiped out by humans, is one of the theories, because they had no fear of humans. They hadn't evolved a fear of humans. And so when humans came and started hunting them, they
Didn't know to run away.
They didn't know to run away or attack or hide or whatever, so they got wiped out. But they were so funny looking. They had feathers, but they were kind of like giant, weird dinosaur birds with feathers.
Wow. That's so cool. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah, megafauna is just generally amazing. Check some megafauna out too. All right, so let's go for one last question. Oh, I just lost it because I'm silly. Oh no! Sorry, hang on. Can you do some elevator music?
Well, I just noticed that Yotagram has turned into an owl.
How did that happen? Oh, look, we've got butterflies now. This is amazing.
Wait, look, I can.
Oh, here we go. I found it. Oh, they're amazing.
So
I
cool.
keep going the wrong way. Okay, so I think this might be like possibly the most important question we've had today.
All right.
It's from Isla and Sophie. Lovely names. Orange Grove Public School. Are the plants behind you real or not? Okay.
Actually, there is a real one.
Let's be real. Is there?
No, this one's real. This is an umbrella plant.
Oh my gosh, there you go. It is too.
It's a Queensland umbrella
But you know
plant.
what? Of all of them, that looks probably the most
faintest.
plastic because it's so shiny.
And this one's also real. Oh, sorry. And
Oh,
this
that one's also real. Okay, so this is fake and this one's fake.
And that's fake.
I told you it was a very important question.
And
I just
these
didn't
two
want to
have
leave you
fake-
hanging.
These two have fake faces on as well.
But the rhino is real. So
Henry.
yeah.
He's a
real
baby.
too, Ruby.
He's still growing.
All right. Well, I think that is just about it for this Ask a Reporter. But we have some more sad news on top of the sad news of extinction.
Do we?
Well, happy, sad. So let's bring in our special guest because we have a very exclusive announcement for you guys.
Exclusive.
Very
Breaking
exclusive.
news.
It's breaking news because none of the BTN audience knows this yet. But this character right here, Martin, and this character right here, Ruby, are leaving BTN.
We are.
Oh, and this is their
Cue
last
cry.
day. Pillow.
It's the extinction of
Extinction of us.
Martin and Ruby. No,
Yeah.
that you will both be going on to I don't want to say bigger and better things because BCN's awesome, but you're going on to different things.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell everyone a little bit?
I'm going back home to the UK. I have to go back home and see my family and my friends.
He couldn't hack the Aussie sun.
I've missed. It's been. Have you seen my
Too
face?
much
It's
sun.
really red. No, I've got to go back and get snow and rain and colds, and they don't have any like Aussie sweets there though, like Vegemite.
I was going to
You're a
say,
fan of Vegemite?
yeah.
I love Vegemite.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Take
been like
some
my-
home with you.
I will have to.
You
But
can
I
get
will.
little tubes of it and squeeze it out.
And where are you going?
I'm moving to Sydney, which is where I'm from, so it's not that exciting. It's where I grew up. But I'm going to work on a show called The Drum, which is a news show for grown-ups, which is kind of like a daily panel news show, kind of like this actually. People sit around and just chat about the news of the day, and I'm going to be doing some reporting on that for a while.
Still at the ABC.
Still with the ABC, still with good old auntie. But yeah, I'm going to miss all of the kids out there, the kids of Australia.
Yeah.
It's lucky you got to do this on your last day, though.
Yeah, it is good.
That is
Because
nice.
Ask a Reporter is fun, and you've done this a couple of times now, Martin.
A few times.
What were your topics?
Wonderful job.
I can't. I think we did
Space. We did a
supermassive
few
black holes.
Space ones.
And
Yeah,
we did the
black
periodic
holes.
table.
Oh,
Ooh, you got
periodic
hard ones.
We did do hard ones actually. And it was,
Toughies.
yeah, but we got there, didn't we?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
we
a
got there.
great time.
But you're
some
going to
stuff.
hold the fort for us here.
I'll try. I'll do my best.
And
Yeah.
there'll be some fresh new faces as well. There'll be some
That's true.
exciting new peeps around.
Yeah,
that is
very
exciting.
I mean, not as exciting as us, clearly.
Obviously.
It'll be a backward step whatever
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, that can't be helped.
Oh, well, thank you both for all the wonderful work and for joining me on Ask a Reporter and all of our lovely audience on Ask a Reporter and BCN generally. They're
It's
going to be
been so
really
fun.
missed, aren't they? And I bet we have lots of messages
Thank
too
you
coming
for
through.
having
So
us.
thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, good luck with everything though.
Thank you.
Thank
Aw.
you. See you later.
It's been fantastic.
Just
Thank
look
you
out for their
guys.
faces around the place still. If you're over in the UK, look up Martin. At Newsround. Are you going back to Newsround? You can check out Newsround, which is the UK's version of BCN.
Yeah, the UK are so
Yeah.
glad to have me
Yeah.
back.
Stay warm, Martin.
Yeah, I'll have to. Need to dig out my jacket
Get
now.
your woolies out.
I've not worn a jacket in ages actually.
Gumboots.
It's going to feel weird.
Yeah, it's going to be strange, and the toilet's going to be flushing the other way.
Yeah, that's true. And I pay a lot of attention to that.
I bet you do.
And it's going to be the British summer now, so it should be just a little bit colder than your winter. It'll be fine. It'll be
Meanwhile,
fine.
Ruby's just going to some horrible beaches.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Just going to go
You
live
poor
by the
thing.
sand, surf
Yeah,
every
I
day.
feel so sorry
That sounds
for you.
terrible.
Oh.
Don't leave.
On that note, let's get out of here.
All right.
See ya.
Happy
See you
Friday.
guys.
Bye.